Oh, the video, the Wi-Fi signal. Oh, even with a new system, even with a new internet provider, and the bloody Wi-Fi drops out. Isn't that just typical? And yet Voyager 1 and 2, they don't have this problem with communicating with Earth, and yet they're like, what are they, like 12 and 14? I think one is at 12 and one is at 14 billion miles away, and they don't have problems with communication, even though it takes hours to get the signal back here, but that is pretty damn phenomenal. But bloody hell, when the Wi-Fi is literally just less than 2.5 meters away out that door, and it's just outside the door. Yeah, sure. That's bloody ridiculous when the signal just drops out like that. Anyway, fans, this doesn't run fans. And yet gets warm, but not as blistering as the Onkyo. The Onkyo now serves as an internal amplifier that runs the overhead surrounds. So that's 7 internal amplifiers. So I've only got three amplifiers left on it. I'm thinking about getting maybe amplifiers that are about this size, but I've got about maybe 30 amplifiers, 32 amplifiers in it, but it doesn't look like a Dolby multi-channel amplifier would work with this sort of arrangement, because the inputs is an Ethernet that connects into it for an input and output. So essentially I think it's looping, and it's obviously got DSP sort of control on it. But an amplifier is an amplifier. There are lots of amplifiers that are all multi-channel now. But I want to reduce the rack space, because if everything was 2-channel amplifiers in the kitchen, it would take up the rack, and I would need another rack. They would just be almost 7 feet tall in height. So the new thing now is that these new D-class amplifiers that provide a lot more power, a lot more cooling, and they can just fit as many into the box. Yeah, I didn't have that sort of stuff around back in the early days of cinema when sound came out. It was just probably a very low powered amplifier played onto high efficiency loudspeaker, where that would be okay, but it had limited frequency response. It had limited frequency response in the low frequencies, and particularly in the high frequencies. But jump forward to now, and well, whatever's going to come out next is being worked on. Well, not being worked on now. It's been worked on for several years back, and probably still in trial and error developments of, is this going to work, or is it going to have too many problems? So you got, it's what the mind can think, and, what we can come up with, and then, make it a little bit more simple, because processors, they do all the channels. They do all these channels, but now it seems like, we need an amplifier that's smaller size in U-frame, or rack U-frame. Rack U-frame is the height of the individual. These are 1U rack frame, and if you put 2 of these together, that would be 2 rack frame. Or this here, I think that is, yeah, it's about 2. This is about 2 rack frame, but they got little feet on them, but I can undo the feet. get some little rack ears. A rack ear is one of these here, or here. These are the original ones that go with the sdds. When I got this one, which was the first one I got, it didn't have any rack ears, and I had to get some rack ears and get this fitted on. So these are rack ears. Some rack ears are fitted to the metal of the casing. Others can be fitted on, so it's not a very big deal. It's very easy to do. And then you can anchor it to the front, and the weight is just held here. I mean, what's the most heaviest? What's the most heaviest in the rack? I think it would be the THX. And the second, I think maybe the second heaviest would be the sdds, and the third heaviest the CP65s. I wouldn't have dreamed of putting rack ears on that Onkyo AVR. You'd need what's called a rack tray, which is a tray that goes in the rack, and partly some of it sits on it, and then you got the rack ears and also the rack ears, so it's supported, because it is ridiculously heavy. It's like the manufacturer put lead inside the damn thing. It's just stupid heavy. This a lot less heavier, a lot less in rack height, because I think the Onkyo was about this high, and the depth is only about that much less. Width is the same, and the weight is a lot less, and yet it will one day have problems. It's inevitable. It's going to have problems one day. It's going to have problems with the HDMI and everything else. But as with what I'm seeing so far, it's a-okay with the video processing, the upscaling for 1080 to a 1080 or 4K, or play a native 4K disc. That's okay, providing it's not Star Trek Into Darkness with Limax switching on and off on the screen, so the picture's going from scope to Limax, scope, Limax, scope, Limax, scope, Limax. That I cannot tolerate. That I will not abide or tolerate one bit. Limax goes into the cat litter, along with Dunkirk. And that Dunkirk was the most appalling sound mix I've ever listened to in decades. Nothing special, nothing unique about it. It was just a common mediocre 5.1 mix. In fact, it was worse than a normal good 5.1 mix. It was absolutely appalling. What happened on the Academy Award, I think someone had been fudging the voting, and I think really the public should get a say on to vote, because it's, after all, the public that pay to see these films. So I think the public's got more of a say on it than the Academy members, because I think whoever voted that to win obviously doesn't know what to look for or what to listen for, or has probably got hearing problems and can't listen in the way that they used to. It was absolutely ghastly. I won't play that Dunkirk ever again. I mean, I'm stuck with a 4K disc, and I'm pretty much certain no one would want it. So I'm stuck with a lemon. The only thing I can do with it is maybe someone that doesn't know what to look for and what to listen for and wants it, and I'll just sell it for just sell it for a bag of cat litter, because that's all it's worth. It's not worth anything more than that. I'd rather have a bag of cat litter than play Dunkirk. It's nothing to do with preference. It's to do with, you know, I'll tell you, a lot of films that get nominated these days for sound are just, some of them are just really not worthy. Not worthy. Gravity, that was worthy. I think that was by far the one film in probably film sound history to have the most dialogue, directional panning in film history. And it nailed it. It nailed it because I could participate with it. I don't like sitting watching the screen in front of me, a front and focal image, and feeling like I'm bloody catatonic, like a bloody zombie, just looking straight forward like just everyone else in the auditorium, because only a few people in the auditorium would be participating in the sound. The rest of the majority, they don't know what to look for or what to listen for. And that is the reality. That's the truth of it. Not everyone knows. When they go to the cinema, they just go there just for a little bit of entertainment. When I go there, I go for the entertainment, the sound, and the picture, as well as the architectural design or the comfort or design of the seating or whatever. But there isn't a cinema now I go to because I boycotted it. I boycotted cinema now since a few years back. So I don't waste £25 on going to the cinema now. Especially when it's digital, and especially when it's going to be in the home within 3 or 5 months' time. It's not. There's no logic to it. There's no point. Back in the days, you know, films would play for months, even a few years, until it gets its VHS or laser vision release. But today, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. So I don't know what to. I don't know what to do tonight. I'm not going to do anything on this tomorrow. I'm going to give it a few days. I'm going to wait for the temperature to cool down a lot more. It's cooling down a bit, but I'm going to wait until maybe next month until it's cooled down a little bit, until I start moving this rack out again and rewiring the left center, right center, and wiring it over to here. Yeah, sure. So and then put the back surrounds left and right that are here at the present time, but they're not running unless I activate the Dolby Digital with, and the signal's fucking dropped out again. And you know what? Fuck it.